Jefferson Robbins with NCW Life. It's a crowded field in the area of Chelan County Commissioner. 4 people are running, all Republicans, to replace Commissioner Tiffany Gearing in District 3. One of them is joining me right now, Flint Hartwig from Wenatchee. Flint, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on, Jefferson.
Really appreciate it. You are a builder and developer, and people will know your name from those businesses, but give us an introduction. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. I was born in Colville. I was raised in Central America, but we moved to the U.S. when I was about 12, 13 years old and moved to Leavenworth to get to know my grandparents a little bit better. So when I did attend public school, I attended Cascade for a very short time. After that, I was an auto mechanic, and I worked at Les Schwab Tire Center for about 8 years, got to manage a store. And then after that, I started a small construction company doing mostly handyman work that over the next 20 years blossomed into what we have today, which is Eider Construction. And we have a lot of employees, and we build a lot of projects. Last year, we brought about 200 residential units to the valley, so that's a combination of apartment houses, apartment units, as well as single-family residence, everything from mansions down to workforce housing.
So people will know Eider Construction. Your trucks are pretty distinctive. You got the little duck on the side. Yep. He's kind of cool. Yeah. You haven't run for office before, to my knowledge. And nope. Chelan County Commissioner seat came open. It's contested in the primary. What made you decide to run? What issues did you see in Chelan County that you think you could address?
Well, I'm glad that you're asking it that way, because I heard a story recently, and I think it's a little bit powerful, and I want to just kind of throw it out there. A friend of mine's wife was dying of cancer, and he said to her, he said to the guy, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And they were close enough that he was able to be honest and say, you know, that really doesn't help me, because now I already have enough going with health and trying to keep my life together. Now I'm going to have to sort through what you might be able to do for me. No, be specific. Tell me the thing that you can do for me. Like, can you wash my dishes? Can you mow my lawn? Get down to specifics. So that's kind of where I see my candidacy. If I win, I'm not going to be able to go in and do massive transformation. That's not the role of a county commissioner, and you couldn't anyway, you know. I would see 1,000 little victories. So if I can help you get a building permit, or help you get your business open, or help your farm stay in business 1,000 times, just one after another, tiny little victories, that is what I will say was a good run for me. So specifically around housing, we do have structural problems inside community development right now. I think the director is a great person. She's very nice. She's well-intentioned. I just think that we need somebody in there that has development experience, who truly understands the development process, understands the needs of the community, and understands why developers are doing what they're doing and why we are losing so many developers. Part of it's economic, but also there is a difference. I can go apply in 6 different jurisdictions right now and have a completely different experience at each one of them, right? So 2 years ago, we processed about 600 building permits. Last year, and these are round numbers, you can fact check it, I'm close. 600, last year 400, this year 175 to date, might hit 2 and change. The demographic is continuing to increase. The need for housing is increasing, and I know the interest rates are up and the market's tough right now, but if we don't build our way out of this problem, it's going to get worse. So when I was 21, I could buy a house working at a tire store, and I had a truck and a car and a boat. Today, if you're working at a tire store and you have a truck and a car and a boat, there is 0 chance you're going to be able to buy a house. A lot of this comes through zoning, and a lot of it's being pushed on us by Olympia. The stuff that's being pushed on us by Olympia, we need to get a little bit creative about how we can implement that. But we don't need to make the decisions that are getting made right now the way we are making them. The other counties seem to find pretty reasonable workarounds, and we can even just take stuff right out of their code or look at the way they're handling it and adopt that for ourselves.
County commissioners deal with the unincorporated county. They don't really have jurisdiction over cities, incorporated places.
Correct.
You set the rules for areas that are outside of municipalities. Mm-hmm. And when you set those rules, you have to comply with certain rules yourself. So if we're talking about the unincorporated county, how do we balance things like we need to build denser and more to bring the affordability of housing to everyone or to more people? how do we balance that with the conservation kinds of restrictions that we have, building in the undeveloped county?
Well, to get density, you need sewer. So usually you're going to find sewer in the UGA, around the edges of town, right? So the way that you would handle that is you just handle that through zoning and you do overlays. For example, in the 1940s, lots were 35 feet wide and houses were 800 square feet. Today, the lots are 70 feet wide and the houses are north of 2,000 feet. That's why they cost $400,000 instead of $250,000. I could actually develop property at $250,000 and sell you a stick-built house on a lot for $250,000. The key is it needs to have 5 windows, it needs to be 800 feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and on a 35-foot wide lot. So you work with the Planning Commission to apply zoning overlays where this would be appropriate to do, and of course within a close distance to sewer.
Have you seen, Flint, I know you've sat in on some county commissioner meetings, but recently or in previous years, have you seen the county set some priorities that you think are misguided? Have they gone the wrong way on issues that you think they should have steered a different direction?
Yeah, I see them spending, well, first of all, let me say that I have tremendous respect for the county commissioners that are there right now, and I know they're doing their absolute best, and a lot of what is forced upon them is coming down from Olympia. So it's a tough spot to be in. With that being said, we do have a tendency to spend money on things that I would not spend money on. One of them, and I'm going to take heat for this, is the trail. You know, we spend $1.5 million, and I know that's not county dollars. Most of that's coming from cities and grants. We're gonna spend a tremendous amount of money, and I would assume that by the time the thing is built, it'll be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Even if you raise all that through grant money, it doesn't cost a Chelan County residents a single dime to get it built. Somebody has to maintain it, somebody has to police it, somebody has to keep the homeless out of there, and the path that it's going to get done, that it's going to be installed on, is going to run through so many family farms that there's no way I can see without taking of property in eminent domain to get that property. And the spray setbacks are going to be 100 feet. So, you know, stuff like that. I sit in on every county commissioner meeting that I don't have a pressing appointment off-site for. So, you know, 1 to 2 meetings a week. What I do notice is that it's just a constant procession of department heads coming in with one ask: more money, more money, more money. And while the economy, for me, is slowing down, and I think for a lot of families is slowing down, I see the demand for money to continue to go up. You know, like if the community development department is only issuing 1/3 of the permits they used to, why are they still running 100% of the budget? In any business, if you owned a restaurant, you would be immediately cutting staff. You know, you have to pare back, and instead I see more and more spending all the time. So I would be voting no on a lot of spending, even if it's a gift. So keep that in mind. I'm not a bread and circus guy. If the state offers us a grant for a new, I'll make something up, they're gonna give you a brand new helicopter. And we all go, yay, we got a free helicopter. No, the helicopter needs a pilot, it needs to be stored, it needs to be insured, it needs to be maintained, it needs to be fueled. The cost of owning a helicopter is worse than the purchase price of a helicopter. So be careful about the gifts that you choose to receive.
Specifically, what trail project were you referencing there just now?
Oh, there's a initiative to push a trail from Wenatchee up to Leavenworth, and then the Chelan to Manson connect. It's a green project, so there's a lot of money coming from the feds and the state that's for that alternative transportation sources. Another thing that I think I would be very cautious about is going deep into software programs right now for the county, because I think that we're on the cusp of a artificial intelligence explosion that's going to increase the compute power of software and make it so much better over the next 5 to 10 years that I would be really careful about implementing any expensive software expansions and updates now, because we're on the version of, Compute 2.0 coming on board, and I think it'd just be better to wait and get the better product.
You think there could be a great leap forward instead of baby steps to get there?
Yep, I think that waiting would be better, yeah. And not that they're getting ready to buy a computer program, but I would be very aware of what artificial intelligence is going to do to staffing. Anything to do with paralegal work and bookkeeping and stuff like that, it's all going to change dramatically very shortly.
The district that you're running in Flint is District 3. It runs from North Wenatchee up through Entiat, Chelan, Manson, most of the northern areas of the county. In the primary, the district votes. So the top 2 people from this primary will go ahead to the general. In the general, the whole county gets to vote. How do you feel about that system? Do you feel like commissioners should be represented in the county at large, or should it be the voters in the district that they're assigned to represent?
No, I like the way it is, because the fact is that a Chelan County commissioner from any of the districts making the decision, that when that decision comes through, it affects the whole county. So I like the fact that the district gets to pick their top 2, their favorite 1 or 2, and then because the decision's made by the county commissioner, in the end, even though I would be elected in the 3rd, I would have to represent everybody.
In your business, you deal with, as you mentioned, development agencies, offices that award permits in multiple jurisdictions. So you've had business before Chelan County, seeking to get projects approved.
Yep.
If you are elected, how do you separate that out from your role as commissioner? Do you do something with the company where it's overseen elsewhere? You know, how do you divide those interests?
I am fully retiring, and I was already planning on retiring in October. So my partners are taking over my 1/3 of the company. That was decided before I decided to run. And I've been there, I said I was going to be there for 5 years. I've been there for 9. Love those guys. It was just time for me to go on and do something different.
So the financial interest is set aside, and you can focus on
financial interest. Shoot, I'd be a lot better off not taking this job. That's God's honest truth. I care so deeply about this county, and I'm so passionate about young folks having the opportunity. Old folks too. All folks having an opportunity. It's ridiculous. I used to be able to go in and get permits right away. I have a property that is 5 years, and $100,000 has been spent with archaeological excavations and sagebrush and everything. We are drowning in bureaucracy. These houses are going to be exponentially more expensive by the time they get delivered to the market, and there's no reason for it. In the end, I'm still going to build a dang house. It's going to take me 6 years and over 100 grand in paperwork to knock over a sagebush. We're killing ourselves with this stuff, and so that's what I want to push on. And I would not, if I did win, I would go into it with the idea that I'm going to do this for 4 years, make the best progress I can, then reevaluate. I don't want to be a career politician. I want to go in there and do my duty and get done. Yeah.
We were talking about housing. We were talking about affordability. I feel like you have the philosophy that more housing pencils out to more affordability, generally, in terms of supply and demand. One of the things that IDER was involved in 2023 was an affordable housing development at 1101 Red Apple Road in the city of Wenatchee. And you had applied for a 12-year tax exemption because you had had listed the option to sell those or to rent those units at the affordable levels for people who are earning well below median income. You had to back away from that. And so I wanted to ask about that. If these tax exemptions didn't work for your project, can they work for county projects, things that might come before you at Chelan County?
I'm really glad you asked that, because when I applied for the affordable tax exemption, I listed my rents on the application. The rents that I listed on the application that the city accepted are the current rents that I'm charging right now. So it says, are you going to be affordable? Yes. How much are you going to charge? 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and I put those numbers clearly on the application. The city accepted it and said, this is good, we're good with this. Now, unfortunately, between my staff, myself, and the city staff, they didn't look and I didn't look to see if those rents qualified as affordable. So they and I all agreed that these rents were the rents. Now, when it came down to actually signing the contract, it was discovered that the rents that we had listed on our application, in fact, did not meet the qualification to be affordable. So we said, okay, what is the rent that's affordable? Through an algorithmic process of figuring out who makes what and what they would have to charge, We then lowered the rent down. The problem is that the rent goes so low that it negates the tax benefit. You literally make less. And because when we bought the property and built the property, we were expecting a interest rate somewhere in the 4s or 5s to service the debt. By the time we get it done, interest rates are 7 and 8. They want, in order to qualify for this program, you have to go down. The deal no longer worked. So they gave us the same 8-year program that they gave everybody else. With that being said, there's exactly one developer in town who has ever been able to hit the affordable target, and that's me. I'm the only guy who's ever done it. And I did it on 5th Street. And the way that I did it, I had to get around their code. Because I went to the city with a piece of dirt, and I wanted to build a high-density building. It's right across the front door from the college. Anybody can go by and look at it. The current city code, and keep in mind the county commissioner won't have anything to do with this, but the current city code has a limited units per acre. So on that property, instead of being able to build a 30 or 40 unit apartment complex, all I could do was a 14-plex. And this isn't good for our society at large. To take this piece of dirt that's on sewer, that's right across the street from a college, and limit it to 14 doors. But I found a workaround, I found a loophole. I have 14 front doors. And when you enter the 14 front doors, behind every front door, there's 3 more doors. So I effectively put a 42-plex where they would only allow a 14-plex. And you can say that that's good or bad. I'll let you judge me on that. I'm renting units for $825 to people who need housing. They're stoked about it. And the $825 includes their rent, water, sewer, garbage, electricity, high-speed internet, cable TV, snow removal, everything. Their entire living expense is $825. And I did that, and I'm proud of it. And I'm the only one who's met the criteria. Now, the program was put together by a company called Burke Consulting. I've had multiple hour-long conversations with Burke about the program, trying to adjust it so that it will work and a developer will take them up on that. I'm so glad that the city instructed Burke to go out and reach out to the developers, because whenever you're building a program that is supposed to entice a certain crowd, you should have that crowd involved and say, what would it take for you to get involved? And then listen to that. Because at the end of the day, money's really expensive, construction materials are expensive, and all developers are doing is they're renting money from the bank to build a building, to rent a building to the public, and the rent has to cover the payment. So when interest rates are at 7 and 8%, we have to get really creative. We have to remove barriers, and we have to incentivize what you want. You get what you reward. If I put bird food in my yard, I'm going to get more birds. So you have to make it a desirable place to go and build a project. It has to be. And to answer your question about the housing, I do believe all housing is good housing. I believe that if you don't have mansions for millionaires to come over from the coast and live in, they're going to buy middle-class housing. And that's going to force the middle class to go down a notch. And you can always force people out the bottom, but you can't force it from the bottom up. I have a very specific plan to build $250,000 homes in this valley. And you won't need to qualify. You don't have to be poor to buy one. They're just $250 because that's all they're worth. They're just worth $250. There's no deed restrictions. You don't have to qualify. And if you don't have credit, we can sell it to you on payments, a rent-to-own program, where when you finance out of it, you capture all your own equity, and I can attract investors to this program, and the homeowners would line up around the block. It's a desperate need, and I want to do that.
This is something you'd like to put in place for Chelan County?
100%. Yep.
Is there anything else, Flint, that I didn't ask about that you think people should know about your candidacy?
Well, if you haven't picked up already, I'm not a politician. And I'm not going to try in this race to out-politic a politician. We're going to have a very clear choice this fall. I don't think that the system, the way it's built right now, is doing as good as it could. I am a limited government guy. I believe in property rights. I believe in freedom. I believe in opportunity. I believe that we should all have the right to pursue our dreams as long as we're not stepping on somebody else, right? So sometimes when I say I'm pro-property rights, people hear that as saying, oh, you mean you can put a pig farm next to my daycare? Absolutely not. No. Keep your mess on your property. Don't let it affect somebody else, right? But at the same time, when we're having discussions about what kind of trees you can have, and we're telling people that they can't have an arborvitae. Right now there's a push to eliminate arborvitaes. Look in your yard. Maybe you have an arborvitae. They're trying to get rid of that. Now, thankfully, our county commissioners pushed back on that and said, no, we're not going there. But the idea is floated by, down to what kind of tree you can have in your yard, what kind of landscaping. And where I get hung up is this steady creep of telling you what you can do and the results sometimes not matching the intentions.
Flint Hartwig, Republican candidate for Chelan County Commissioner, District 3. Good luck in the primary, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the interview.
You bet. You're watching the NCW Life channel.